I will call this Human Rights Commission meeting. Today is Monday, February 24th. All right. We will look at the minutes from the January 29th, 2025 meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Also move.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from January 29th? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. The minutes from January 29th are approved. We'll review the budget report.
Acting Chair, I just want to update you that the monies that were requested to be carried forward, action was put off until the March meeting because we only had 3 city council members present.
Okay. And I don't believe we need a motion for that, so, okay. We'll move on to the Events Committee report. Does anyone from Events Committee want to give an update on that? Is there any updates?
I couldn't make it
Okay.
to the meeting, so I got it.
Yeah, I'm on the committee, but I was not able to attend. so.
Okay. It looks like the Human Rights Award, we received an update from the Vets Committee who met on February 12th to plan the Human Rights Award ceremony. Ceremony is scheduled for March 26th at 6 p.m. at the Community Center, and we need to determine our wording on the plaques. So, any thoughts on
What
that
have we
at
done in the
all?
past?
I am not sure.
I thought typically it would just say like the date and who it was awarded to, but I don't know if there needs to be more than that or if there typically is. I'm not aware.
I wouldn't imagine we would put like details of what the program or anything was that they were working with, so I don't know why we would need more than that.
It was, I can't remember the wording, but when we talked about it last week and decided to do both entities, we had a reason. And do you remember how that was worded? Because the one was more, not really personal, but, you know, there, and that might, if we could do that in a very succinct way, you know, to point out that there are different ways of doing it, but I don't remember how we worded it.
I think the discussion was around one was kind of more of a long-term project and one was more of a very short-term focused project.
So I think that, you know, it might be kind of nice to, if we could come up with a way to word that, but suggest that to the committee, that people can realize that there's different ways to do it. You know, some can be something that's just a one-time deal, or it could be something that's like the New Ulm Zone store. It's more long-term. Just a thought.
So there'd be like a section that would be for their contributions in or what are,
For your forethought, or maybe in the longevity of the good this does, or I don't know. I don't know. It just occurred to me that it would, I really was impressed last time when we decided to do both of them, to realize that there were different ways of doing it, and that they should both be recognized.
Yeah.
So, I just thought that might be nice, and that way other people would hear too, that was why they both got chosen, and think, well, it doesn't have to be some big splashy thing. It could be something that's more long-term. Like I said, a thought.
Do we do a press release to go along with the award?
I think we have in the past. I think we have done a press release in the past.
Because then we wouldn't have to be as succinct as on a
Right.
Well, that's-
plaque, yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
And we usually do like a little presentation as well at the ceremony. And so those that nominated, I know in the past, have been asked to say a few words if they're willing to.
I mean, I guess I would say keep it simple with the plaque, but press release and that whole thing. That would,
That's a good thought, yeah.
Mhm.
Does that require a motion?
Yeah, yeah, maybe it might. So, yeah. So, do we need a motion for exact wording? I'm not sure. What are thoughts on that?
How about I make a motion to keep the plaque verbiage as is, but at the award ceremony and in the press release to make the distinguishment of the difference between the two.
I would second that.
Do I have a second on that motion? Oh, you second, sorry. Any more discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor of the motion to keep the plaque simple, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carried. And then we are going to move on to the executive committee. We need to review the mission statement, and the committee met on February 20th to do that. We didn't make any suggestions for changes as far as the mission statement. You can review that if you'd like. Perhaps we need a motion to keep the mission statement as it is. I don't know if there's any discussion on that. Any thoughts?
I don't think, Madam Chair, that you need to have a motion not to change anything.
Okay. All right, we will move on then to the annual review of the bylaws. And again, we met on the 20th to review those. We did make a little proposed change to that. Section 4A and 4D. And that was related to kind of our committees and how to split those up. So we within our draft, got rid of the Public Relations Committee, and we'll be splitting the events committees into separate subcommittees based on the number of events that we have, because we're getting to have quite a few events.
And that's good.
Those seem like good changes. I would make a motion to accept the bylaw changes.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Any discussion, any further discussion on that at all? Okay, then I will entertain a vote for that motion to accept the changes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Other business, community needs survey, press release submitted February 11th. Press release 2025 community needs survey. There's a link there to that. And I don't know if we've gotten anything on that. I don't know of any updates.
Where are we putting the surveys? How are we distributing those, or making them available?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know Sarah has kind of done some of the work on that.
I know the goal was like to be able to do social media and all of those things, but we can't have our own page. So then this link would be available on the city page, as well as like the Chamber of Commerce and all of that, like to be able to use the QR code, and then be able to distribute that to schools with their, I forget what it's called, but it's online information.
Peachtree.
The Peachtree, yep.
I'm fairly new to New Ulm, so I don't know if you have like a senior center sort of place here, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it might be nice to have paper copies there or at the library, because I don't
post it.
personally like to do stuff on the computer that well. And if you're older than I am, there's a good chance you might not want to, and a lot of those people would have needs.
Sure.
And without the QR code. And
Right,
So,
right.
but how do we manage that? That was the issue that we came up with, because originally, like we were feeling at the fair, we weren't getting enough of everybody actually doing it. So how do we do that to incorporate people who might not be good with cell phone or have one?
Can't you just make paper copies and have them places, or not?
Like paper copies at.
But it would be a QR code, so you'd still need,
Why does
so
it
then
have to
how
be-
would you turn in the survey?
See, I don't know how you do a QR, why does it have to be a QR code? Couldn't they turn them back in at the library or at the
At
someplace
the-
here?
Here, correct? They could return them here, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Mail them in?
That was just one of the
Yeah,
conversations
right.
when we were doing it was, how do we facilitate and manage that?
Yeah.
I would assume you could, have the option of returning via mail here or dropping off here
Sure.
if people wanted to complete a paper copy.
I just would hate to leave a bunch of people out. And
Yeah.
if there's a senior center, they
Agreed.
could fill them out there and leave them there, and maybe somebody could, I don't know who's going to tally those, if we are or what, but somebody could pick them up from the senior center, once a week or every few days or whatever, however many people do it.
I go to an exercise class at the senior center every now and again. There's a lot of people that go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, up there.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
I'm a New Ulm resident, Teresa Cavaney, and I do go to the senior center exercise class every now and then. And I think there are 20 to 30 people. I am guessing if there were surveys, and you could even put a QR code on the survey, so if someone wanted to scan it in and do it online, they could. And it would probably just be a matter of having a box at Kara's office if she would be willing to collect. And I wonder if the library wouldn't be willing to also have a box and collect. And obviously you'd need someone to input onto the form, but I think we don't want to miss opportunities for input.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yep.
that's just my idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think those are great ideas, and we certainly can possibly look at adding to a paper survey, I would think. Do we have, who, is that part of a committee that's taking that on? Is that under the, do we have that under a certain
It was under
committee or is it?
education, I think.
It was under education, okay. Is that something that education wants to revisit?
Is anyone from education here?
The events ones?
It's not.
No, oh,
It,
okay.
we would bring it to events, but it wasn't something that we,
Okay, I didn't know if that was what it was, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I think that could definitely be possible to visit that at the meeting.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a great idea. So we'll just kind of revisit that issue and look at getting a paper ready and maybe some boxes ready to go to have those paper surveys placed in. Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the community supporting family well-being event sponsored by Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Grant application was submitted and we're waiting to hear back. We have an invitation to participate in the Park and Recreation Open House event on April 6th at New Ulm Recreation Center. And we need to decide if the commission wants to partner with Park and Recreation Department, regardless of the grant status.
I feel like Park and Rec does a lot for us whenever we do events, so we should. They were even willing, with the welcome event, they were willing to have a backup space depending on weather for us without charge. So
Yeah, okay.
It's also another place we can have surveys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
point.
Does anyone want to make a motion that we participate in that
I'll make a
open house
motion that
event?
we
Okay.
participate on April 6th, whether we get the grant or not.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that?
New Madam Chair to the commission here, so I'm wondering what the nature of the participation is at their event and what does it entail?
Yeah. Kind of, it looked like it was, like a chance to have a booth or a presence there. We could have giveaways, promotional materials, to highlight our organization's mission, kind of get our name out there and what we do for the community, connect with families and individuals. So that's
Whenever we have a booth, it's been nice because we
Yeah.
actually get to talk to people. And we've had like the stickers and we did chapstick this last year, but like the paper surveys would be, like you were saying, a good thing. But it's a booth where you just kind of, you're able to communicate. And we do quite a few of those is what I've read from it. And it's, sometimes we get things brought to our attention at those booths too, which is nice.
Yeah, suggestion box sort of thing might be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a matter of staffing the booth, having materials to share with the community that stopped by and just getting into brief conversation with folks,
Yeah.
letting them know that we're there. And
Yep, so we just need
Yeah.
within the group to volunteer to go.
and what was the date of that again? April?
April 6th and 11:30 to 1:30. So it's pretty short event. I'm not sure offhand. I assume that's maybe a Saturday or Sunday.
That's a Sunday, yeah.
It's a Sunday, okay.
Well, I'd be willing to be a commission member at the little booth or whatever it happens to be, and but it would be nice to have some company.
Yeah. And we usually, I
It's
think,
always nice when someone's with you there.
we usually try to have a couple people, I think, when we do these events, just because it's good to have, have a partner.
And on that note, I just want to compliment, this commission is so active. There are always members attending and participating in all of the events. And Carl, as a newer commission member, I think you'll take great pleasure and joy, and also the student commissioners, how active this commission is. So I doubt that you will be sitting alone, Carl.
All right. Any other discussion on that? So I think we had a motion and a second. All those in favor of participating in the Park and Rec open house, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Legislative update. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring forward? I know it's been quite busy with different things going on. There was a few things that I wanted to mention to kind of keep on our radar and be aware of. Within our state, there is a House HF 22. It's a Parents' Bill of Rights, and basically it's there's a lot of things in there, but one area of concern, I think, is that some youth that may be at risk for being marginalized and might reach out to adults that they trust, whether it be doctors or therapists or clergy or whoever, they might have limits placed on doing that because of this bill. And so that is a concern to me. So I would encourage everyone to educate themselves on that bill and speak out if you have concerns like I do. And then nationally, the SAVE Act, which is basically would require that people present a passport or a birth certificate in person to register, and your name and your gender need to match. And so I think the thought is that it's aimed at transgender people, which, that in and of itself, but it also disenfranchises women voters because often their married name does not match that on their birth certificate. So it would aim to disenfranchise them from voting. So that is HR 22 and Senate 128, the SAVE Act. So, yeah. Anyone have anything else that they want to bring up as far as legislative updates?
I would agree on those topics of being concerns. Is there a way that we can link in to those House file numbers to follow them and get updates or see what the legislation actually looks like and how it reads? I would assume there's a link to read the text.
I know that, you can go on. I'm not probably as savvy. I'm looking at Teresa because she probably knows how to do that. But yes, I know you can, go on like the Minnesota site and look at updates.
Minnesota State Legislature.
Okay, Minnesota State Legislature.
And then explore it. There are many ways to participate.
Thank you.
to be able, I mean, if we have the link, is that something that we try to be able to get out to the community to be able to look it up and learn about these things that are coming?
I don't know. I know that we get emails, sometimes from Lisa on things that are going on statewide, right? We all get those, whether it be different legal things that are happening. Yeah.
It seems like a
sure.
good idea if we're,
But to be
if
able
we
to
want
share it
people
with
to
the
be more aware
community.
of human rights. I mean, we should be encouraging ways for them to see what's going on and how they might be able to be a part of making decisions.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have like I said, I'm not a real computer person, but have a connection there, from our website, because it has to do with human rights.
Yep.
I would be in favor of figuring that out. I can't figure it out, but somebody can.
I know we said earlier in the meeting that we aren't able to have our own Facebook page. Is that a city policy or, okay. Because, yeah, I agree that we need to find better ways to communicate, and I don't know that a ton of people are going to the city website to look for the Human Rights Commission and clicking through multiple links to find details. Yeah.
I mean, I thought for the education fund, is a website not allowed?
I
Because you'd have to
don't-
pay for a website, but I know we've struggled with our the contest every year. It was a flop the last couple of years. Like the students weren't participating in the contest. Like, is having a website different than having our own social media? Is that something that we could look at putting the education fund towards instead of a contest?
I'd be willing to look into that and call the city office and talk through possible options. If that sounds okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I also think when a press release, let's say it gets printed in the newspaper, for us to share it on our own sites to get the information out. And I know when I was running for mayor, people would say, well, how can I help? And it's like, all you have to do is go on Facebook and share. But it doesn't seem to resonate with people. So we have, we have to figure it out. I know I asked too about a mayor Facebook. And so along with you, Dave, I will be asking so I could figure out, because I would like to post. And I'm not sure if each commission would be able to have a Facebook site. That gets
Right.
to be pretty much, I shouldn't say difficult to manage, but we always want to make sure that the information is vetted
Yeah,
and it's representative of the city.
absolutely.
And that's the bottom line, and that's probably why it goes through a clearinghouse.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was thinking instead of social media, an actual website where it would have to be approved before we put it up, but it's a
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
Something as hackable, I guess, as Facebook.
Sure. If I may, Madam Chair, just want to share with you, I did spend a day and a half at the state capitol on Legislative Action Day and had the opportunity. First of all, it is a conference, an annual meeting hosted by the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. And while this may not apply directly to the human rights, it's just an example of what is going on behind the scenes. And so the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities is something that I prefer to attend as opposed to the League of Minnesota Cities, because that includes Minneapolis, St. Paul, the larger communities. So the Coalition of Greater Minnesota speaks to us. And there's a disproportionate, let's just say, formulas as far as funding and pass-through dollars and timing of those pass-through dollars. But as an example of something that resonates at the state is one size or one zoning regulation fits all. Well, what they're proposing is, as an example, that it would negate our local zoning and our planning commission, and it would be established by the state. So if you are living in a residential area, somebody could put up a fourplex or an eightplex right next to you because of the need in the metro area for more housing, family dwelling, that kind of thing. And of course, we don't believe one size fits all and say, make it applicable to the 7-county metro area. So that's our strong lobby. But there were so many of those things. And I did have the opportunity to sit next to the executive director from that coalition and also with Representative Torkelson for dinner that night and continued our lobby, not necessarily on just the human rights issue, and since I just, but we had so many things lined up. But we made sure that we were also looking at how does it impact our seniors and the programming and pass-through dollars that support senior programming, or let's say transportation, or the long-term health care. Some of it doesn't even resonate with the legislatures that are, let's say, in majority. So, but we continue to, and I will continue to write letters on a regular basis to carry our message forward. But just wanted to share that with you, that there were 3 of us at that event, and March 6th, another group will be going to the League of Minnesota Cities Conference and lobby with legislatures as well.
Thank you for that update. All right. City Council liaison.
She kind of touched on it already, honestly.
Yeah, all right.
I'd say okay.
Okay.
Nothing else to
Nothing
report.
else? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Move on to current human rights issues. We discussed last time a little bit immigration concerns, and we were talking about doing something on that, considering hosting an event or open forum. And I don't know where the status of speakers or resources are. Does anyone have updates on that at all? I know someone was going to be looking at that.
Did we
No?
task somebody to talk to people about that?
I
think
thought
Kristen
we
was
did.
going to do that, wasn't
Kristen
she?
was going to do that. I thought, yeah. I don't know that she gave me an update. I know Teresa had brought it to our committee. Are you willing to speak on it at all? Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Okay.
I wanted to thank the commission for actually taking this up. And I had understood that Kristen was investigating bringing in some speakers. I highly support that. I have attended meetings and coffees, if you will, with individuals who are impacted by the new requirements, if you will, that have been handed down for schools and churches to open to ICE agents. And I know that differs from state policy, and we've been told that both our county sheriff and our police don't necessarily lend their resources to do ICE's work. But I think there'd be great benefit to having a forum where we could hear them speak and where we could also discuss this with church leaders as well as our school officials. I don't know that the people affected would even necessarily come because of their own fears, but if we were educated as a community, I think we would be better equipped to be of help to people who are affected, who are possibly afraid of family separation and so forth. So whatever this commission can do to elevate this as a community discussion, I think would be helpful. It might be good to invite Congressman Finstead or his staff, and a courtesy perhaps to our city and county commissions and state legislators. They're all busy, and who knows who would attend, but at least it would make them aware that this is viewed as a human rights concern and that we seek to educate the public on what our rights are and what we should be mindful of as we're facing these changes. And if I may, on the SAVE Act, I did want to just add a little factoid that 8 out of 10 married women assume the name of their partners, and most of them move at some time in their life to change from one voting jurisdiction to another. So if the SAVE Act passed as written, they would be impacted, and I don't think everybody would be able to figure out what the right course of action is, because the draft bill does not allow a marriage license to be used as a validating piece of information. It requires passport or birth certificate, and it has to match your current ID or what you're putting on your voter reg forms. So, sorry, that's not in sync with the agenda, but
No, thank you for that clarification.
Thanks.
Yep.
I would like to also add to that is a lot of the people that would be affected by that can't afford to go get a passport.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it takes
Have a birth
time.
certificate. They have an ID. They got
Yeah,
married.
Right.
But
These would not be allowed unless they have evidence of your location at birth, and certain military IDs would not be allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, those are, I think those are great ideas of trying to bring people together and talk about immigration concerns. I don't know what everyone's thoughts are.
I mean, I think it's important. I think it would be important to at least have a forum and see what happens and put it out there. I mean, I don't know what research has already been done or who's been talked to, but I think it would be an important thing to do.
I think anytime we get out there and do things like that, it helps the whole public realize that human rights is a concern, and that's seen in many different lights. I think it'd be a good idea.
Would it be valuable to put this to the events committee so then we can have some discussions and set up potential dates and who we'd like to be in contact with? I just want to make sure we're making an action move for this.
I'm on the events committee, but I think I'm the only one here, so I wouldn't
I
be
am
able
as
to
well.
say it. Or
I'm
you
on the-
are?
I'm on part of
Okay,
it,
you
yeah.
are too? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
I'm not sure who, that was in the minutes for last month.
Yeah.
That's the wrong date.
But I would be willing to definitely meet on that.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion that the events committee would meet to discuss further?
So move.
I'd second it.
Any further discussion?
What is the motion calling for to happen?
That the events committee would meet to discuss hosting a forum on immigration concerns.
In identifying presenters in an invitation list of sorts?
Yep.
Yeah, we would come up with ideas and bring it back here for
Yeah.
approval.
Sounds good.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Okay, motion carries. Do we have anything else to discuss?
I had a thought the other day.
Okay.
I randomly walk around every morning,
Mhm.
and it occurred to me, I don't know if we have anything in the place about this or not, but with the Herman bus system, the thought occurred to me that I've seen signs for bus stops, but is there a way that we can have something there so if somebody was blind, they would be able to know where the bus stops are? I don't know what that would be, but it seems like there should be something, because the buses are handicap
Sure.
accessible.
Yeah,
And so they're not going to know if they have to look for a sign.
yeah,
So I
Yeah.
don't know if that seems like that would be within our purview, since we want everybody to have the same rights to ride the bus. And a lot of people that would want to be riding it might not be able to see a sign.
I'm not even
Yeah.
sure what they do in the metro for
That's-
that.
that's a good question.
I don't remember anything in Minneapolis with anything for blind at the stops. I don't know what that would consist of, because I know that they have like the stop, don't walk.
Right, yeah,
But-
when they have the little beeper thing at the stoplights, yeah. I don't know, I just happened to think about that, and I thought, well, how are they gonna be able to know where there's a bus stop?
Oh,
So,
Madam Chair,
Get
I
a
would,
GPS ping for it, because I know
yeah.
a lot of times you can get directions, through.
I don't know those things.
Oh, right.
Just bringing, I don't talk.
That's a good
like-
question. That's a good question. I
Just thought I'd bring it up.
Just never
Sounded like
realized,
it was
like, I'd
something we should be
never have
thinking about.
seen anything for blind people in metro areas when I lived in them either, for that Braille, but
I don't know.
Right.
at least, Madam Chair, they could somehow publicize the locations, the corners, the street addresses of where these are.
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Can be found in those
Yep.
corners.
Are they listed? I guess I'm not sure. Are they listed where?
I've seen them listed before, but I'm not sure where all they have been listed.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that would at least be a first step in making it more accessible, but there's definitely more that could be done as well.
Again, if it's just listed somewhere, they're not gonna see that,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
so, anyway.
Yeah.
Are we circling back to printouts and website?
Yeah, I think we are.
I think whoever operates it, either a county or a city function, would be a place to start to have them, display
That could
it
be
somewhere.
a question for them. Yeah. To see.
So we do on the newulm.gov website, there is a list of the stops, and there is a schedule. But again, not a lot of people are able to find that information very readily. So making sure we have that available. Do we have a lot of resources in Braille for the city of New Ulm, or is that a larger concern? I guess that's.
I looked into it once for a restaurant, and it's expensive to get one sheet,
I can believe.
I-
Yeah,
because we wanted to have that available as menus.
Sure.
So I just know that costly, but I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's beneficial.
It seems to me there's some ordinances or statutes that require it on elevators, on the sides of the panels of the frame of the door. There's got to be Braille. And hotel rooms are supposed to have Braille.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what else. But
I think it's, Deb, a good question that you brought up about, again, making this accessibility so for those who have a vision impairment, and would ask that somebody within the commission check into that so that we can make sure that we're satisfied that it is accessible. And if there's something more that can be done, what is that? Because I don't know at this point sitting here.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. It sounds like we have more questions. Is there anyone that would be willing to look into it further?
I think I could be a candidate to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. We will follow up on that. Okay. If there's nothing else, then our next meeting is Monday, March 24th. And do we need a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay, a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, we are adjourned.